right now, the United Kingdom is absolutely appalled with regards to the recent world developments. Being a major world power, we must utilize our copious resources to our advantage in order to make the world a safer place. There was a recent act of aggression taken by the Irish Republican Army, resulting in the deaths of London police officers. In response, the government, led by Prime Minister John Major, has felt that the loss of United Kingdom citizen lives and is determined by the threat of upcoming IRA attacks and protests. The cabinet has decided to provide additional militaristic support so that future casualties among police and citizens is averted. With regards to the recent bombing in Beirut on the United Kingdom's embassy, the UK will deploy the HMS Ark Royal, high-tech and highly efficient aircraft carrier to monitor the potentially violent developments in Lebanon. Our esteemed Prime Minister eloquently addressed our cabinet by saying, "We put the safety of our citizens and our nation first, and the United Kingdom will not tolerate any acts or threats of violence." Thank you.
Recently, there has been a development over Bosnia and Herzegovina where unidentified aircraft have flown over the area. The UK does not know enough to discern what our course of action will be because we have no intel on the event yet. However, intel will be coming shortly.
The United States would like to reaffirm its commitment to spreading the ideals of democracy. In the current world order, we have the opportunity to influence the future and set new precedents. We believe the most important among these is a very strong commitment to democracy and to diplomacy. We currently recognize the pressing situation in Israel and Palestine and stress the necessity of firm diplomacy. We condemn all acts of terrorist violence, but do not support military action. However, we believe that force can be necessary to ensure the opportunity for diplomacy to succeed. While we acknowledge that it is important to stand up against acts of violence and acts of unprovoked aggression, we also see that it is important that we give our proposed negotiations the chance to succeed. Furthermore, we stand by our word, and this is why we have authorized the shooting down of the planes that have entered the no-fly zone, which NATO and the US currently firmly backs. Furthermore, we would like to establish a path towards peace in this region. This means that we will start small with small steps, Palestine taking small zones on a short timeline with provisions for local representative government. We will stand by our ally Israel, but we would encourage them to recognize the validity of these zones. We think that negotiations with both sides are extremely important, and diplomacy will be the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for gathering here today. The German cabinet has been recently discussing and moving forward with the German unification, especially integrating East Germany into Western Germany. We've been doing so in regards to with our economics. What we have been discussing and what we have decided to do is that we will integrate the private sectors of East Germany, or the former East Germany, with the current business in Western Germany, and we hope to do this by using public funds to start an initiative to boost the economy of Germany, while then letting the private enterprises take over and then allowing them to come together with the economies in Western Germany. So what we're trying to do basically is just continue to unify our country economically, focus on our domestic issues so then we can look outside. Thank you.
Hello, International Press Corps. My name is Randovan Pankov, but you can call me Mr. Pankov. And I am the Minister of Diaspora for the Serbian Cabinet. I'll keep it brief. I just want to explain what my cabinet, or the cabinet of our great leader, Milosevic, Mr. Milosevic, has been up to. Basically, what we've done so far is create positive domestic economic reforms for the Serbian and Yugoslav nation. Now, we have increased the exchange rate to parallel that of the Russian ruble to, in effect, increase the value of our currency. We have imposed a price control initiative to give consumers the upper hand in the Serbian markets so that we can, by stabilizing the prices, therefore making it easier for consumers to buy goods within our nation. And in total, we have taken other initiatives to, in effect, reduce the overall hyper inflation for the overall benefit of the Serbian public. Now, the Serbian committee would also like to say that the West is kind of overstepping their bounds in the Bosnian War and their sanctions and general involvement in a culture and region that they don't truly understand. The Serbian committee does not like this. Thank you. No other comments.
Hello, people of the world. My name is Victor Yerman. I am the Minister of Internal Affairs in Russia in the current day of 1994. Currently, Russia has found out that within one of our satellite nations that there have been riots and they want to leave the Federation. When we found this out, we decided that as a new nation, we will not take a violent approach. We instead gave aid to the pro-Russian people. We created places called relief zones where people could go and get relief from the violence that had been oppressing them. We want to show that to the satellite nation and to the people of the world that we are trying to push kindness over strength. We feel like this is the best way to handle the situation in our satellite nations. We feel if we show that there are benefits of being a part of Russia, that they will want to be a part of Russia. We will not take forcible actions until a situation has occurred that we must take forcible actions. Thank you.
I am the Foreign Minister of Turkey. I would like to begin by saying that while the Turkish cabinet is deeply saddened by the attack that occurred in one of our nation's great cities, we are taking measures to ensure such a thing does not happen again. We are beginning with an investigation that will result in a trial of all those we find evidence against, and we have decided that we will utilize our military and police forces to ensure that such an attack does not happen again, and have begun a crackdown on other terrorist organizations. We have also discussed the idea of better enabling ourselves to harbor and assist refugees in Syria, as their condition is dismal. We've reached out to other nations for aid, as this is a task so large that the EU even was unable to handle it on its own, and as such, Turkey feels that any assistance would be greatly desired. Despite our own abilities, we could use the assistance of others. Thank you.
Good evening to the international community. I, Sergei Lavrov, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, would like to extend the message from the Russian cabinet. Russia extends its condolences to the Republic of Turkey for the terrorist attack that just occurred in Istanbul. This is why an international investigation is needed to search for the actor of such a heinous crime. Not only that, this is a calling to all nations throughout the world to form a coalition to counter terrorism and extremist groups such as ISIS. We have to collaborate together, and Russia extends its hand to diplomacy for all nations willing to work with Russia in terms of counterterrorism. Not only that, Russia looks to nations who are willing to work in terms of ballistic missile defense system to protect against nuclear threats. Thank you.
Good evening, people of the world. I am the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Iranian Cabinet. The Cabinet of Iran has currently been focusing on our reintegration into the global economy due to previously lifted sanctions. However, in discussing the reintegration, we have been forcibly reminded that the sanctions have currently been continuously imposed and still affecting our economy. In accordance to countries imposing these sanctions, we ask you to consider and feel the urgency that determines the relief of these burdens. Due to the sanctions, we are limited in developing our humanitarian programs, all which we need to improve the standard living conditions for our people. Discussing with countries of all influences is greatly important to us and our development as a global economy. Iran has worked with many countries, yet we understand that dialogues with other countries, including the P5 countries, are extremely influential in the discussions of these sanctions. People of the world, may I strongly inform you that we, while we are a powerful nation, are struggling to aid our people properly. Each nation here is able to recognize the importance of aiding the people and their basic human rights and are harmed due to these sanctions. Working against each other in these discussions will not create any improvements or forms of development. Finally, the Cabinet of Iran would like to strongly condemn the actions of ISIS, and we are aware that all countries feel the same. However, please do not forget that we are suffering as well due to these sanctions. Please feel sympathy for our people and their living conditions. Keep all points in mind to not only promote the developments of our countries like this, but the prosperity of human programs. Thank you.
Hello, I'm John Kerry. I would first like to offer my condolences to the entire country and especially the families of those who are affected in Turkey, and I would like to offer them my support. Now, as a result of this, the entire world needs to think about what it's doing. And I believe that the US would really encourage a joint Turkish and NATO investigation to try and investigate using access of free and control of information and flow between several countries inside NATO. As an attack on NATO calls for all members to support that member, as it was an integral idea in the creation of NATO. If there is an adequate proof from the investigation, the United States is willing to look and consider actions after that point. The international community as a whole must help all countries when they are in need, as other countries have done when it has been attacked. In addition, it is important that the American public understand that they are safe and that the U.S. Cabinet is doing whatever is necessary to make sure that they are safe and continue to make sure that they feel secure in their own homes and in their own homeland. Thank you.
China.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Foreign Minister of People's Republic of China. In the past few days, we've been trying to address the disputed territory in South China Sea. We are making diplomatic effort with the Vietnamese government. We just published an official statement that emphasized our ancient right to this region. Also, China is a peace-loving country, but if the Vietnamese government refuses to respond to our demand, we will be taking actions. I'd also like to point out that it is at the best interest of people of both countries and of this region that China get this region. Thank you. I'll be taking questions afterwards.
All right. So what we're gonna do? We have a few minutes left to move to Q&A. So I guess do you guys want to call on reporters or? Okay.